Meeting randomly felt like fate, but it was not. Priya and Maya, names that for years were spoken together as if they were one. Their friendship was the envy of people everywhere, one that seemed unstoppable, perfect, and unbreakable. Outwardly, their relationship was one of trust and loyalty. Always discussing large ideas and major trips, Priya was the outgoing dreamer. Maya was quiet, ambitious, kind, attentive, and down to earth. Their friendship felt almost enchanting together. They balanced one another in ways. For years, they opened everything: hopes, worries, triumphs, heartbreaks. Late-night chats in which they bared their hearts and pledged to support each other regardless of life's circumstances prevailed. Priya would frequently say, "No one will ever have your back the way I do," and Maya would agree. Why wouldn't she? Priya had been there during her lowest points, when Maya's mother became ill, when she bombed her initial important test, and when she questioned her own way in life, so to say. With open arms, Priya always turned up ready to soothe her. But here's the thing about loyalty: sometimes it isn't quite what it seems. The one who quietly keeps a knife behind their back, waiting for the moment you lower your guard, is often the one you most trust. Small things started, so trivial, actually, that Maya at first didn't saw it. One of Priya's witticisms that seemed somewhat sarcastic. Praise with a little bitterness. Maya would laugh it off as just Priya's nature. They seemed to belittle Maya's achievements as fortunate breaks. Because the other option was too much to bear, she reminded herself that she did not imply anything by it. And Priya? She never let her honest emotion on display, at least not openly. She celebrated Maya's first major advancement by clapping. But deep down, something nastier was rising. She shared happy pictures of them together and captioning them with words such as "sisters for life" and "my ride or die." Inviolably, it was the sort of jealousy born of passion, not of hate. The sort of celebrity that turns love into hatred. You see, Priya also had aspirations. Large ones. Maya seemed to be living for her hard work and eagerness, but Priya seemed to be losing more ground. Every little accomplishment felt like a reminder of her own faults. She would smile and root for Maya. She didn't dislike Maya, she disliked the way Maya's achievements made her feel about herself. Priya nonetheless never said anything. Rather, she hid those emotions under layers of laughter and encouragement buried deep down. She reassured herself it was not a major issue and she could manage it. But envy can fester in the shadows. When it develops unbridled, it annihilates everything and everyone around as well as the person feeling it. Ever trusting, Maya couldn't see what was going on. Neither did she notice that Priya anymore smiled somewhat less from her eyes. When Priya spoke about her own difficulties, she didn't notice the edge in her voice. Maya saw nothing except her best friend, the one who had been there for her in good times and bad. Maya didn't note that the breaks in their relationship had started to appear already, and that Priya was behind them. At least for now, they still laughed together, confided in one, and toasted each other's accomplishments. Underneath, however, something was changing. Once rock strong, the connection was starting to erode. So wrapped up in her own life, Maya also missed the approaching tempest. Though potent, loyalty is also delicate. When it is destroyed, the damage is terrible, although it can keep people connected through the most trying circumstances. For Maya and Priya, a tale of betrayal, heartache, and wisdom gained. The difficult way would shortly be found instead of a friendship grounded in confidence started. When loyalty turns into a lie, it breaks not only the link between two people but something within them as well. And this was only the start. At first, Maya failed to observe it. She could have been quite busy, it was for both of them. Finally, Maya was starting to become famous. Something she had been striving for years. She had just landed a job at work. Her attempts seemed at last to be bearing fruit, and she wanted to let Priya know how delighted she was. Priya, the one individual who had always been there to support her. Maya's news made Priya grin. Though she embraced her and stated, "I am so proud of you," upon closer observation you would see the way her hands clenched behind of her back. Though her eyes looked far away, almost slavish, she was warm and engaged. Maya didn't see it. She was too much enthused of herself and too blinded by her best friend's dependability. But Priya? She felt something else. She was not precisely furious at Maya, not exactly. There was the incessant notion that she was being left behind. Priya had also no dreams. Success, acknowledgement, and a direction were what she sought. While Maya was heading up the ladder, Priya felt trapped. Her personal life was saturated with tension, her career was not as she had wanted, and every day appeared to melt into the next. Maya's success wasn't more a reminder of everything Priya had not accomplished than it was a cause of celebration. Priya first tried to dismiss the sensation. She kept telling herself it wasn't so important. She considered this to be Maya. She earned this. I should be happy for her. On the surface, she was. Inside, though, that little voice of doubt continued whispering in her ear. She's getting everything you might have wanted. She's left you behind. She hardly sees how tough your life is. Priya didn't against feeling this way, but the more she sought to push those ideas aside, the more they grew. Her jealousy started to alter Maya's view almost unnoticeably and gradually. First came the humor. Beginning as gentle ribbing, the sort that had always defined their friendship, one evening at dinner, Priya laughed, "Please don't become too famous and ignore me." Not knowing there was a bit of truth nestled in Priya's words, Maya chuckled and dismissed it. Afterward arrived the small rejections. Priya followed Maya's eager suggestion for a new project she was engaged on with a nod and a remark of, "That's good," but her voice sometimes sounded level. Maya observed it, but she dismissed it. She mused, perhaps Priya is just tired. Still, it might not have stopped there. At last minute Priya began cancelling arrangements. She seemed uninterested at times they were together or arrived tardily to significant events. Priya dismissed it when Maya approached her. He said, sidestepping Maya's eyes, that she has just been engaged. Maya did not push. She had confidence in greetings. She assured herself their friendship was tough enough to last a few miles. Still, Priya's actions were not only about being busy. It was the outcome of something Maya could not see, something far more fundamental. Every instant of Maya's accomplishment seemed a defeat in Priya's eyes. Every success of Maya made Priya feel slightly more unseen, slightly small. She didn't despise Maya at all. Still, she loathed how Maya's life made her feel on her own. Jealousy is not always expressed as fury or hatred, at times it hides behind friendly words and smiles. Sometimes it looks like a buddy who's somewhat removed and somewhat off. Maya couldn't see it, and Priya couldn't even bring herself to acknowledge it. At first, the cracks in their friendship were small, just like little breaks in glass. But with every unvoiced idea, every unexpressed emotion, the cracks started to proliferate. Moreover, more they expanded, the more difficult they were to disregard. Maya one day sought guidance from Priya on a major work decision. To her, Priya's view was more important than anyone else, so she asked what Priya thought. Priya stopped to think for a second before responding. Her phrases were deliberate and precise. She said, "You are looking over it too much. It is not greatly important." Maya nodded, trusting Priya's judgment. Later, however, she couldn't help but feel puzzled when she followed Priya's guidance and the result was not what she had expected. For honest, well-thought advice, Priya had always been depended upon. So why was it that Priya seemed to be not really listening anymore? Unbeknownst to Maya, Priya was beginning to damage her rather than only giving terrible counsel. Out of fear, not out of bad intention. Priya wanted neither of Maya failing nor of achieving. Every step Maya took forward felt like a step further away from Priya, and Priya was desperate to hold on to her place in Maya's life. Although Maya could still not see them for what they were, the cracks were no more hidden. She reminded herself that Priya was merely passing through a difficult time and that things would soon return to their usual. But she couldn't quite put into words. Deep down she couldn't shake the sensation something was changing, that is. Friendship rests on reliance, and Maya had complete faith in Priya. Trust can, however, keep you in the dark. Even when they are right in front of you, it can cause you to overlook the warning signs. Though Maya could not yet see it, the bond she prized so much was beginning to fall apart already. Priya was also unaware of it. She figured she was concealing her emotions well, but jealousy has a way of showing itself, even when you try to keep it hidden. Day after day, their friendship eroded, and neither knew how near they were from shattering absolutely. Though Maya had always believed their friendship was unshakable, honesty sometimes went unnoticed by trusting people. Maya decided to overlook everything, the small changes in Priya's tone, the half-hearted grins, the too convenient justifications. She convinced herself that Priya was only going over something little and that their connection was too close to be damaged. Neglected, though, cracks simply become more severe. The point of breaking didn't suddenly arrive. It was not a big event, but rather a string of little betrayals that accumulated gradually till the load became unbearable. It started with the whispering. From a co-worker, Maya came to hear about them first. "Hey, I heard something weird yesterday," they said. "Priya said you were fortunate to have reached your present position. She said it wasn't all your hard work." Maya turned stiff and dread sank into her. Laughing uneasily, she asked, "What?" hoping it was simply a misunderstanding. Still, it was not so. The individual Maya relied most on, Priya, had begun to speak behind her back. It began subtly, small remarks belittling Maya's accomplishments, stuff Priya would never tell her straight. "Oh, Maya just received that because she always happens to be in the right place at the right time. She's great, but I mean, she's not that great." Maya wished it was not true. She could not fathom Priya, her best friend, speaking such words. Still, the whispers continued and eventually they were no longer just murmurs. Priya could no longer hide her envy. Maya faced her one evening. Maya's living room, previously full of laughter and warmth, now felt weighed down under strain. Maya started pensively, "Priya, I have been listening some things. Things I want to reject. People say you have been talking of me and saying things that are not true. That is a key. Really, is this what's occurring?" Instant and defensive was Priya's response. "Who said that?" she snapped, her voice stronger than Maya had ever heard it. "What, do you rather accept them now?" Maya shook her head, trying to keep cool. "It is not about picking sides, Priya. I simply want to grasp. I sense something between us has changed, I don't know why." Priya chuckled, but it was not the gentle, known chuckle Maya knew. It was sarcastic and acrid. "Of course, you don't understand why," Priya uttered with bitterness. "You are too much into living your ideal existence to observe anything else." Maya's heart shattered at that sentence. "Priya, what exactly are you discussing? You have always been part of my life, the most vital part. How might you believe?" "Because it is correct," Priya said loudly. "You have it all, Maya. Can you not see it? The career, the fame, the respect of every person around you. And what have I got? Nothing. I have spent years rooting for you, assisting you, and seeing you achieve everything I wanted to have." The room fell quiet, Priya's words heavy in the air. Maya had no idea how to respond. This acrimony that had long been building under the surface was new to Priya's view of life. Finally, Maya said, trembling, "I thought we were in this together. I thought we were a team." "Me too," Priya responded, her voice fainter now and nearly apologetic. "But I came to see I am not your equal way earlier down the road. I'm exactly your shadow-standing individual." Maya reached. Priya sat back and shook her head. Happy smiley carrot, "You don't know Maya. You won't ever will. And to be frank, I don't know whether I can continue acting any longer." Those words broke something in Maya. She first saw that the one she had trusted most was no longer against her. Their bond was broken, the loyalty underpinning their friendship was no longer present. The turning point was not dramatic or highly visible. This wasn't a shouting fit or a loud breakup. Quiet was nearly sorrowful. It was the way Priya stopped returning Maya's calls, her avoidance of Maya at social events, her slow but deliberate withdrawal from Maya's life. Still, the anguish was becoming quite intense. Weeks were spent by Maya trying to make sense of everything. Replaying their talks in her head, she tried to find the instant everything did different. She asked herself whether there was anything she could have done another way, anything that might have rescued their relationship. She could not find the answers, however much she tried. For Priya as well, the breaking point was equally excruciating. For so long she had convinced herself she could control her emotions and be happy for Maya, notwithstanding her own doubts. However, jealousy has a way of devour everything in its way, and by the time Priya came to see what she had done, it was too late. The once solid bond was now permanently severed. Even worse was neither of them could say whether or not it could ever be repaired. The days post the fallout felt like strolling through a fog. Life had taken a turn for Maya Katulwende that she had never imagined. Priya had been her rock, her best friend, the person she turned to when everything else seemed unassured. Maya felt lost, bobbing in an ocean of unspoken words and unanswered interrogations, without her. Originally she tried to connect. There was no reply even on voicing messages, voicemails, or Priya's apartment visit once. The quiet was loud, deafening, and it smothered Maya inexplicably. Trying to identify the very second everything had turned, she repeated their last conversation several times in her head. She asked whether it was something she said. Something I did? Maya knew inside herself, however, it was not about one event. It was mostly the tiny events she had been too blind to see which had accumulated over the years. Priya's subtle resentment, her developing jealousy, her quiet withdrawal, everything was there, visible in plain view. And Maya had missed it. She felt the knowledge bang her hard. She blamed herself for not noticing the signs and for trusting so much that she never questioned what was taking place below the surface. But first and foremost she mourned. For a friendship she had believed would last forever, a friendship that had meant everything to her, she mourned its loss. Hoping it will divert her from the hollowness she internally experienced, Maya flung herself into her projects. Everything seemed good off the top. She arrived at meetings, met deadlines, and even smiled as co-workers applauded her most current accomplishments. Behind closed doors, she was biding. Some evenings she would sit in her apartment alone, gazing at old pictures of Priya and her, questioning how they had come to be present. Desperately want to phone Priya, she stopped herself sometimes since she didn't know what to say. The lack between them had grown too oppressive, too permanent. The post was not any better for Priya. She had believed that eliminating Maya from her life would quiet the voice in her head that told her she was insufficient and therefore would give her tranquilness. It does not, however. If anything, it made the voice louder. For Priya, Maya was especially missed. She missed how Maya always knew what to say lest Priya was feeling blue. She missed the way Maya made her feel seen and known, their inside jokes, their late-night conversations. Still, every time she considered reaching out, embarrassment stopped her. Priya mused, how can I confront her following my behavior? She tried to persuade herself she had made the correct judgment, their friendship had turned poisonous, and it was better for them both to move on. Deep down, though, she realized it. She had let her bitterness destroy something lovely and unusual. There was no returning now either. Weeks came to be months, the gap increasing. Slowly but steadily, Maya began to reconstruct her life. Rejoining past friends, joining new social circles, and even starting therapy to work through her emotions helped her to manage her emotions. Her therapist queried her one day during a meeting that turned everything. She said gently, Maya, what does fidelity mean to you? Maya was caught off guard by the question. She had not stopping to consider what loyalty actually meant to her since she had given Priya's betrayal much thought and Priya's wrongs much consideration. It suggests being there for someone, no matter what, Maya said after a long pause. And is that always good? The therapist asked. Maya blinked, not sure what to answer. She had always considered loyalty to be a quality to be honored. But she started to see that loyalty, like everything else, had limits. Maya had dismissed the warning signs for many years since she wanted to trust the connection she had with Priya. Blind to the fractures developing in their friendship, she had been extremely devoted. Part of her recovery, she came to see, had to come from knowledge of her own part in the incident even if she still experienced Priya's betrayal physically. Loyalty wasn't staying silent when things seemed wrong or ignoring red flags. It had to do with mutual respect, honesty, and trust. And loyalty could turn hazardous when those things were lacking. Maya recognized this and started to see a clarity she hadn't experienced for months. She still missed Priya, and she always would. She did, however, know that the response was not preserving a relationship that had turned poisonous. The trip was unlike Priya's. She battled with guilt, with the burden of her actions and the destruction she had wrought. She meant to contact Maya, apologize, and attempt to fix what had been damaged. She did pick up the telephone every time, though the fear of rejection would halt her. Ultimately, Priya's lack of vocalization became her confinement. Maya advanced, Priya stayed still, trapped between her remorse and her need to let go of her fears. Their relationship was about more than just grief, it was also about development. Maya learned to establish boundaries and recognized when a relationship had run its course, hence, it was a self-worth lesson. For Priya, it was a painful reminder of the destructive power of jealousy and the importance of confronting her own feelings before they consumed her. Friendship, like any other connection, is delicate. Both sides must be honest, patient, and diligent. And without these things even the most strong bonds can break. Maya and Priya's tale was as much about what happens when loyalty turns out to be a lie as it was about betrayal. It was really about two persons who once meant everything to each other becoming strangers. Maya reflected on all that had unfolded in the months turned. Though it no longer consumed her, the agony of Priya's loss still lingered. Her view of their friendship started to change as time passed gave her perspective. What she once considered to be unchangeable wasn't as flawless as she had thought. She found that loyalty was much more complex than she had previously thought. Maya had always thought loyalty, when she was growing up, meant sticking by someone no matter what, that is, under all circumstances and without question. Now, however, she was less certain. Her therapist's query kept turning in her mind, what is loyalty to you? Loyalty had been about trust, blind, absolute trust, for Maya. But was that truly loyalty? Or was it only avoidance, a denial of the reality? She considered the times she had overlooked Priya's cutting comments, dismissive tones, times that didn't feel right. Convinced that Priya did not mean anything by it, she had swept them aside. Looking back, she understood that true loyalty was not about avoiding red flags. It was mostly about honesty and having the bravery to deal with problems before they got out of hand. Though Priya's betrayal had torn something inside Maya, it had also instructed her a useful lesson: loyalty should never be paid with your personal well-being. Trusting someone doesn't imply ignoring their behavior. It means holding them accountable, just as you would want them to hold you accountable. Maya started to realize how far she had come as she pondering these principles. Though the ordeal had left her stronger, it had been agonizing. She had acquired the ability to know when a friendship was no longer constructive, to give themselves first priority, and to establish limits. Priya found the lesson more difficult to accept. Many nights she went back her decisions, trying to find what had gone so wrong. She realized she had let her envy run her, but blaming Maya was simpler than admitting the truth about herself, what IFS had come to define Priya's life. What if she had been honest about her feelings? What if she had told Maya how much she was fighting instead of letting her feelings fester? What if she had chosen to congratulate Maya's success instead of resenting it? Regret, Priya discovered, is a weighty load to carry. It doesn't miss what is ruined or perfect the past. It only rests there, a perpetual reminder of what might have been. Still, the encounter made Priya have to face her own imperfections. She started to realize how much she had let her self-worth be related to comparison with others, how she had calculated her success against that of Maya rather than concentrating on her own route. Priya came to see jealousy like poison. It damages you as well as the one you envy. It opens your eyes to the bad things in life and helps you to remember where you stand. Priya considered in her silence trying to contact Maya, apologizing, and trying to reconstruct what they had lost. Every time she considered it, however, the fear of being rejected kept her from doing it. She reassured herself that Maya was best off without her since the damage was already done and there was no turning back. Maya did not find forgiveness to come easily. There were days when Priya's betrayal still hurt, days when she wished to phone Priya and ask for explanations. With time, though, she saw that forgiveness was more about letting herself go forward than about letting Priya off the hook. Maya started to regard forgiveness as a present she was bestowing on herself. Keeping her connected to a past she could not undo, holding on anger and animosity will just weigh her down. By pardoning Priya, she was choosing to rid herself of the agony of it, not excusing what had taken place. 80% of your text is likely AI generated. New version. But forgiveness didn't mean reconciliation. Maya understood that some relationships, once broken, couldn't be mended. She missed Priya, of course, but she also recognized that rebuilding their friendship would require trust, and that trust was something Priya had shattered. Over time, Maya found herself surrounded by new people, friends who supported her, celebrated her achievements without jealousy, and encouraged her to be the best version of herself. These relationships weren't based on blind loyalty but on mutual respect and understanding. Maya realized that losing Priya had taught her more about friendship than she had ever known. True friendship, she discovered, isn't about being there for someone no matter what. It's about being honest, holding each other accountable, and celebrating each other's successes without envy or resentment. Priya, too, learned her own lessons. She began to work on herself, addressing the insecurities that had led her to sabotage her closest friendship. It wasn't an easy journey, and there were many moments of self-doubt, but she knew it was necessary. In the end, Maya and Priya's story wasn't just about betrayal, it was about growth. It was about the painful but necessary process of letting go, learning from mistakes, and finding strength in the face of heartbreak. Because loyalty, when it becomes a lie, can break even the strongest bonds. But it can also teach us the most valuable lessons, about ourselves, about others, and about the kind of relationships we truly deserve. Maya's story serves as a reminder of the fragility of trust and the strength we can find within ourselves when things fall apart. It's a tale of heartbreak, growth, and ultimately, resilience. We all face moments in life when those we trust let us down. Whether it's a friend, a family member, or someone we believed would always support us, Maya's journey illustrates that even when loyalty turns into a lie, it doesn't have to define us. We can choose to heal. 80% of your text is likely AI generated. New version. Stronger and wiser than before. If this story resonated with you, take a moment to think about your own relationships. Who are the individuals in your life that genuinely appreciate your trust and loyalty? How do you maintain your boundaries and self-worth in those connections? Life is filled with lessons, and often the toughest ones come from those closest to us. Yet, those lessons can also be the ones that help us grow into who we are meant to be. Thank you for watching this story, presented by Lord Ethan Stories. If you liked it, please remember to give this video a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and share your thoughts in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you. What insights did you gain from Maya and Priya's story? Have you ever faced a betrayal like this? Let's engage in a conversation and learn from one another's experiences. And if you're interested in more stories like this, narratives that explore the intricacies of human relationships and emotions, be sure to hit the notification bell so you never miss an upload. Remember, every story carries a lesson, and every lesson has the potential to transform our lives. Until next time, this is Lord Ethan Stories, encouraging you to safeguard your peace, value the people who uplift you, and always remain true to yourself.